national legal nonprofit defending the environment and people's health. Earth Justice is fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. If clean air matters to you, visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Charlie did not die from an overdose. Charlie was poisoned.
No other family should go through this. It's just horrific.
Go to safe.pharmacy. Use the free tool. Learn if the online pharmacy you're using is safe.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
The league is probably in as good a spot as it's been maybe since what you just talked about. I mean, there's no lawsuits. I mean, obviously the Clemson-Florida State ACC, discrepancy has been put to rest. The TV package seems to be locked and loaded with ESPN, of course, agreeing on through 2036. So there's some stability within the league. Can they catch the SEC or the Big Ten? I don't know why anybody thinks they can.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Back after a week
I know.
of nothing.
I know. How was your week of nothing?
Hot.
Yes. Very hot. Everywhere.
I did see F1, the movie.
Okay. How was it?
Other than you could see how it was going to end.
Predictable.
Like 25 laps away.
Yeah.
It was very good. I liked it. I enjoyed the movie. But you could absolutely forecast the way it was going to end. Yeah. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Brad Pitt's very good.
Well, there you go. He's good at his job.
The other guy I had never seen before, also very good. I thought the movie was well done.
Nice.
If you are into Formula One, I thought the racing looked pretty good. I don't know, how if any of those guys did their own driving or whatnot, but it was fun.
Nice.
Fun movie, and it was air conditioned in the theater.
That's always helpful.
My gosh, it was hot.
I've not been into a movie theater. I might have been before the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah.
See, we saw there was a Zeppelin documentary not that long ago that we saw over in Chapel Hill. And, of course, we saw F1. Jack also this week went to see the Mission Impossible movie. I did not see that. I
think this is the last one, maybe. The Final Reckoning, potentially.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Who
knows? There's like 80 of them.
If Tom Cruise decides he wants to hang off the bottom of a helicopter again,
yes,
they'll do another one.
Right? Jump out of something, scuba dive. I mean, who knows?
Whatever. He'll do
Fill
it.
in the blank.
He'll do it. All right. That's and we had drafts.
Yes.
We had 2 drafts this weekend. And baseball drafts coming up in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Hopefully they don't take as long to get places as the NHL draft.
All right, let's go.
Let's get it started.
Yeah.
Let's get it started in here.
People didn't like the NHL draft.
I mean, it was overdone.
The decentralized NHL draft.
They did.
26 teams voted for it.
Yeah.
Of 32 teams, 26 said, yeah, let's all stay here. I know maybe they had to because they were holed up in Lenovo HQ. Nice little synergy behind the naming rights to the arena. But the Hurricanes seemed like they liked it. Whatever. We spend way too much time bitching about that.
Mm-hmm.
The draft was the draft. It moved as fast as the NFL draft moves.
Mm-hmm.
The players were there. At some point, they should have said, you know what, these interviews with the team and their draftee.
In the draft house. Yeah.
Like, if they were going to have a draft house, Gary Bettman should have been handing out pints.
Something.
Right?
Needed one just to watch it.
And they should have realized after the first one that, you know what? These are all going to suck.
Yeah.
So let's not do them.
Yeah, the technical difficulties happening.
Gosh.
How awkward was that?
So I did hear one very interesting theory. I was listening to Elliot Friedman's 32 Thoughts, the podcast, which is excellent. Hockey fans probably listen to it all the time. And he said that the working theory is that Bettman, who didn't really want a decentralized draft, did that on purpose to maybe convince owners to go, let's just have a convention again.
See, look, it's a mess.
So, but it really, who cares?
No, nobody cares.
We worry about the dumbest possible things. I thought it was still cool. I didn't watch. Did you really watch rounds 2 through 7?
I know.
Really?
Did anybody? Anyone?
I mean, round 1 I watched.
Yeah, same.
It was fine. It wasn't amazing, but the draft's never amazing. The NFL draft is never amazing. The NBA draft is never amazing. It's not great TV.
Well, and also most of these guys aren't even going to see the ice for their team that they were picked for.
Sure. The first few guys will. I mean, I assume Matthew Schaefer will for the
Once
Islanders.
you get past the first 10.
So maybe not even that much, but it's the draft as a TV experience is bad anyway. It's just how to kill 3 or 4 hours. But man, could people stop complaining about that? It's useless. Anyway, regardless, Hurricanes weren't involved on Friday night anyway, which, remember what I said about the ending of F1? Right?
Yes.
That I could see the ending very.
Oh, yeah.
Trading out of 29 back into the second round was as on brand as you're going to get.
Very.
I don't know how many times I said it, not really in a joking manner. By the way, if you go to my Twitter profile, there's a bit of truth in there's truth in every
joke.
Wait, I should probably read it. There's some truth in every bit of sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
Phew.
Yeah.
So when I've said over and over and over again over the last, really it goes back more than a year, the Hurricanes picking at number 29 do not see the value of that pick being any better at all than picking at number 41. So they were always going to trade out of the first round into the second round and get more capital. That's what they were always going to do unless somebody falls to them at 29 where they can go, wow, we had that guy evaluated as the 13th best player in the draft. Let's draft him. The only way they were going to stay there is if somebody fell that far to them. So as soon as they were on the clock at 29, I'm like, I turned to Aileen. She did not complain about this. She might have been asleep. I said, they're not making this pick.
Yeah.
They made me wait 4 hours to not make a pick.
Exactly.
Like, they're not making this pick.
Uh-huh.
So, the clock's ticking down. And there you go. All of a sudden, I notice in the bottom of the screen, Chicago is on the clock. I'm like, yes! Yeah. They're not making the pick.
Bring out the corny button that they have. That red button.
Oh, yes.
I was like, this is so stupid. Like,
yeah,
so
it was
bad.
dumb. It was dumb. But, again, I think it's all part of Gary Bettman. See how stupid this is, people?
Right. It's ridiculous.
So, anyway, look, I thought it was pretty cool that Chris Letang's kid pushed the button.
Yeah.
I did. I thought that was cool.
He was very suave.
Yeah.
What a dapper gentleman.
Very decked out for 13 or whatever, however old he is. So, yeah, the Hurricanes, here's what they did. And this is what they do. The Tulski Dundon turned the 29th and 89th pick in the draft into the 41st, the 49th, the 62nd, the 67th, and the 87th pick. They turned a late first and a late third into 3 seconds and 2/3. That is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute brilliance. That is exactly what this organization is about. They are throwing darts at the dartboard. As I said on the podcast Saturday night, they are counting cards is what they're doing. They believe that if they continue to play the percentages, they will come out ahead. In some ways, that speaks to their philosophy of building a roster. We're going to get to that in a second. So then we go about the business of drafting these players, and more on brand. 4 of the first 5 picks, Russians.
Yeah.
So 2 things jump to me. The first is, look, if you have a whole team of Russians, you don't have to worry about your team playing in the Olympics. Bow!
Mm-hmm. It's facts.
So there's that. And the other thing is that if we're worried about a communication problem for Alexander Nikishin, problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
You just have an entire team of Russian players,
got a whole crew,
and you're good to go. It's funny because I do all these podcasts and I label them CCP, Canes Corner Podcast, and I'm like, we're only 1 C away.
I know.
From that sort of being appropriate.
Yeah.
So, look, I explained it on the podcast. Darren York actually talked about it, who's the man in charge of the draft. He talked about it at their media availability in that they just evaluate players for their talent. They pay zero attention to where, as he said, what their passport says. And I totally get it. So a lot of the Russian players, there are certain organizations that they just won't address it at all. They won't even evaluate them. They evaluate some of the super talented kids, but maybe not anybody who's late first and beyond, because it's harder to get them here. It's harder to evaluate. It's harder to keep tabs on your prospects. I get it. And that is not necessarily incorrect thinking. But the Hurricanes are just evaluating the talent. So they draft the goalie in the second round. I saw a highlight reel of his. I'm sure there were bad goals somewhere there, but in the highlight reel, I thought the kid looked great.
Yeah.
18 years old. Who knows how long it is before he's here? Who knows if he ever gets here?
Yeah.
The center, Ivan Ryabkin. I think it's Ryabkin. He's not tall, but he's thick. And the description of his game profiles beautifully for what Carolina wants. Physical, like mean, like, oh my gosh, Carolina needs some of that. At least he played last year in the United States, played in the U.S. Hockey League for Muskegon. He put up better than a point a game at age 18. I mean, that's pretty good. So now he's got some red flags, and I talked about those in the podcast. But if anybody that has done any bit of research on this, and we're going to talk to Nick Bass, who does the Canes Prospect Twitter feed and the Substack. We're going to talk to him at the bottom of the hour because he wrote about it before the draft. Like, it's an intriguing prospect. It's not without risk, but Carolina got him late in the second round. I guess not a bad player to take late in the second round. And then in the third round, they drafted 2 big, like, super cool skating Russian defensemen, one of whom answered the question, who's the best defenseman in the NHL, with me 5 years from now. I dig the confidence. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. The other guy they drafted is 6'5", 190. Both 18 years old with a lot of room to grow physically and in terms of their game. So in terms of the talent, I think Carolina probably did a pretty good job in the draft. But who knows?
Nobody
knows.
Because
none of these players may ever play in the NHL. We don't know. And it brings me back to what Carolina needs to do now. Because I said it on Twitter, and I might have pointed it out in the podcast. I didn't really feel the need because everything we talked about was the draft and then looking ahead to this year. If you're the Hurricanes, all of these moves are great. And I thought the Canes did the best they possibly could have done on draft day. But this team is built to win. This team is not built to be a work in progress, so it's time to start working on the roster. And this is where I bring up the P word. You know what the P word is?
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, yes.
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to wait.
No.
But I know Corey Lavalette wrote about this for The Athletic, and I texted him earlier today and said, you and I are on the same page.
Yeah.
Because this is what the entire podcast was about. Carolina, unlikely to delve into free agency in any meaningful way. It looks like the acquisition cost in the trade market is beyond where they want to go. And I believe that they are going to play the waiting game. I will tell you right now, Carolina's roster today is a playoff team. It is not a team that will likely go deep into the playoffs, although I didn't think they would go deep into the playoffs this past year, and they made it to the conference finals. Yes, the Metro side was easier. Don't expect the Metro side to be as easy this year as it was last year, but Carolina is today, sitting here, a playoff team. So I'm not concerned about what they will be going into the year. But if they want to take advantage of the players that they've got, the core players that they've got, look, I think the window is going to be open for several years. It's time to get the elements that this group needs. It needs a center. It needs a top right-handed defenseman. Those should be the two priorities for the Hurricanes. And by the way, tomorrow when free agency begins, even though I just said I don't expect Carolina to be heavily involved, there will be at least one player that Carolina should go hard after to the point of overpaying. And that is Florida defenseman Aaron Ekblad. He will be available July 1. Promise you, he will be available tomorrow. And if you are Carolina, it should be your focus, your mission, to make him say, nah, and make him think twice about it. I have no idea where Aaron Ekblad is going to end up. I do know that when he hits the market, and he will tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of teams interested. And as I talked about extensively Saturday night, it's a lot of teams with cap space. I know it doesn't seem like a ton because the cap only went up about $7 million. But a lot of teams have room to sign Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah.
They do. So we'll see how this all shakes out, but I think Carolina is more likely to look exactly as they do today for another month. And then as we get closer to training camp and teams see what they've got, maybe it goes into training camp, then that's when I think you might see Carolina make moves. But I believe that today is how we're likely going to look, with maybe some minor additions, like they could sign Mikael Granlund as a center to add to the mix. He was great for Dallas in the postseason, and he actually had a very good year between San Jose and Dallas. So I could see Granlund being a guy that Carolina, he's 33, left shot, he's not super huge, but he's a really good player, and he would be a better second-line center than Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say this once, and I'm not going to talk about it again because I know it's not going to happen. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why more people are not interested in Elias Lindholm of the Boston Bruins.
I know.
I don't get it. Is he a superstar? No. Is he an 82-point guy like he was when he played between Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau? No. But you know what he can be for this team? He can be a 50-point guy who can win nearly 60% of his faceoffs, who can play in all situation, plays in the middle of the ice, can play with a little bit of grit and determination, can be a little nasty at times. He can fill that role.
We need it.
And anybody who says, I don't see him as much of an upgrade over Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
What?
You're stupid. You're just stupid.
Yeah.
Because he is a massive upgrade over Jesperi Kotkaniemi, which probably says more about Kotkaniemi than it does say about Lindholm. But he profiles as a pretty good second center. And at some point, Carolina might get another one. And then when Stahl drops down a little bit, Lindholm becomes a really good third center. Let's stop trying to find perfect and find somebody who makes this team better. End of rant.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk about the Hornets draft later. Konata Edwards is going to join us because the Hornets, I actually think they did a good job.
I know, right?
I can't believe I just said that out loud.
Who is this team?
I like drafting Con Knippel. I think Knippel makes other players better. He does so many different things. He's a great shooter, yes. But I think he does a lot of other things. He's a willing defender as well. Like the fact that they added Sion James in the second round. I like the fact that they got Liam McNeely in a trade with Phoenix. So I think the Hornets actually did a pretty good job in the draft. So just kind of set that aside. We'll talk to Konata Edwards about this a little bit later on. Real quick, two things. The first is, when I talked about the men's national soccer team 2 weeks ago, whenever I was here last, I talked about the fact that for decades, the one position that the United States has really not been worried about has been goalkeeper. I mean, you're pretty much set when you go Tony Meola and Tim Howard, and that's essentially the succession, although there were some players here in the mix in between. And who's the guy they just I've now blanked on his name because they have another guy named Matt. Matt Turner is the guy. Matt Turner has been the U.S.'s goalkeeper now for about, I don't know, seems like 8 years.
Long time.
And he was good initially. And I watch a fair amount of the beautiful game. Matt Turner's game had stopped being beautiful. His game had fallen off. Not being able to maintain a starting spot. You know, when he was playing for Nottingham Forest 2 years ago, losing his job to goalkeepers they no longer have, and essentially being a backup at Crystal Palace. His game has deteriorated. He's also in his 30s. The fact that they could not find a younger goalkeeper to push Turner had been troubling to me. And last night, I think they found at least the serious challenger to Matt Turner in Matt Freese, who is a goalkeeper for NYCFC. And the penalty kicks last night, penalty shootout, I blended hockey and soccer. In penalties last night, he went up against arguably the best there's ever been in that particular skill, Keylor Navas from Costa Rica, and he outdid him. It was an awesome performance from Freese, and I kind of dug it. I love the way the whole match ended. Good result for the U.S., who went into the Gold Cup having lost 4 in a row. They have now, I believe they've won all 4 of their matches. They're in the semifinals. They'll play Guatemala because Canada lost. What? Come on, Canada, do better than that. So we've got USA, Guatemala, Mexico, Honduras on the other side. So that's our semifinals in Gold Cup. So and we'll talk about Gold Cup a little bit later on. Patrick Aubameyang from Charlotte FC looks like he has a chance to make the World Cup roster next summer. He's been the first choice striker all summer here, and I have enjoyed watching Aubameyang play. So we'll talk about that later on. Will Palaszczuk's going to join us, the voice of Charlotte FC. And the Club World Cup is in the round of 16. We're halfway through it. We have 2 matches today. In fact, who is it? They're playing in Charlotte today. I'll get it. Oh yeah. They have because Will is actually going to be at the match. Inter Milan and Fluminense. Inter, who lost in the Champions League final by a lot to PSG, who, by the way, is now 9-0 on aggregate against teams named Inter.
Oh.
They beat Inter Miami 4-0 and absolutely were kind to them in the second half. Gosh, what an absolute beating that was yesterday. But Inter Milan lost to PSG 5-0. Fluminense is a pretty good side in the Brazilian league. And by the way, 4 of all 4 teams from Brazil who were in the Club World Cup made it to the knockout stage. Very good showing for them. Anyway, that game is in Charlotte, so Will's going to be at that match. He's going to talk to us from there. Either way, people cannot get this concept. Individual matches, in fact, this tournament might be interesting. Yet the competition is a farce. It is just a money grab from FIFA. Nobody wanted this to be a 32-team event. Last year, no joke, it was 6 teams.
Oh, wow.
Not even the NCAA would go, yeah, let's expand to 32 from 6. They wouldn't even do it. So it's just about grabbing money, and they are going to distribute a lot of money. They had to bribe the European sides to play in this. Most of them didn't want it because these guys have played a ton of matches, the athletes. And when this is over, training camp has already started for their clubs. So Man City, if they're playing in the championship match, which is, I believe, July 13th, the first match of the Premier League season is basically a month away. Come on. It's just a money grab. It's not good for the players. The players aren't getting much of the money anyway, and most of them don't need that money anyway. It's good for the teams in Brazil. It's great for them because it gets some exposure. By the way, those teams aren't getting as much of the pie as the European sides are. Come on, it's a complete farce. We should be able to understand the two things can be true at the same time. All right, when we come back, Nick Bass, Canes prospects on Twitter, also the Substack. We'll talk about the draft haul next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Move your sports day forward.
In the often forgettable churn of sports news, it's a good thing Will Wade is stoking the rivalry fire between State and Carolina. In this fresh age of player transfers and payments, the only way to provide spark these days has to be through the coaches. The one-and-done kids can't hint at rivalry. Wade's delivering in an area for me way ahead of schedule.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. That's VAXAssist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, vacation you burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist because vacation you doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Jumpstart your retirement savings at WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
At the Veterans Health Administration, we provide life-changing care to over 9 million veterans across more than 1,200 facilities nationwide.
Our hands are busy, competent, skilled, healing, helping, and friendly. A place where diverse teams come together hand in hand to provide full patient-centered care, and where even robots lend a hand.
Join hands with us. Learn more at vacareers.va.gov.
We need each other because every someone needs someone else.
We need each other because when we work together, we can do so much more.
We connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. And that's what Child Fund is about.
Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
After I lost my mom, I lost my way. Then I found youth advocate programs, behavioral health services.
As a little kid, I made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
YAP gives communities alternatives to residential care, youth incarceration, and neighborhood violence. After completing our program, nearly 90% of participants remain in their community. YAP works.
I'm working towards a bright future.
Youth advocate programs. Others talk social change. We make it happen. Learn more at yapinc.org.
Thanks to your support, the nonprofits VetTix and First Tix have given away tens of millions of tickets and counting to vets currently serving military, the immediate family of troops killed in action, and our brave current and former first responders. These tickets are a meaningful way to say thank you to America's heroes. And now we want you to be part of the mission. Got extra tickets to concerts, games, or special events? Or want to see if you qualify? We want you to go to vettix.org and firsttix.org today. Give something to those who gave.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Is he married to a person or just himself? Because that, I feel like that's very Aaron Rodgery of him to have the twist in there.
It's a very good question.
Oh, I don't know. We still don't know if it's a person.
Would he get down on one knee to ask himself over an ayahuasca?
Yes.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Hi, everyone. First day back, I always have a lot of energy.
Just give it a day. This weather will also zap it all the way out.
No, it's going to be in the 80s today.
Whoa, a cool breeze.
Yes, not in the 90s.
What?
Near 100. I think we set a record. Didn't we set a record
Probably.
last week?
It's ridiculous.
Tuesday, I believe, we shattered something.
But
or
it's
something
a short
melted.
Week. It's a short week.
That's, by the way, that is called strategery.
Yes.
Coming back from a week off to a short week. Mwah. Yes. All right. The draft was on Friday because Nick Bass from the Canes Prospect Twitter, also the Substack, which I read religiously. I read about Ivan Ryabkin before the Hurricanes drafted him in the second round, or was it the third round? I think it was the second round. And I even quoted you or referred to you, Nick, during the podcast on Saturday night. Nick joins us, also Nick But Not on Twitter. Carolina did well in terms of what they turned a first and a third into, yes?
Yeah, 100%. Turning a first and a third into multiple seconds and the guys they got around that position, that is very good work for them.
All right, when you were putting together your players to watch, and I've been reading these throughout, when you were putting these together, did you think that here's players who Carolina might be interested at 29?
Yes, there was a couple guys that I had around that spot. The ones that I can remember off the top of my head being Alexander Zhuravsky, who went to Montreal, and Mason West, who went to Chicago, who traded up.
Right.
Those are the two I remember the most. But, yeah, there was a couple guys around 29. But this year specifically was such a great year to just trade back and get more assets going forward. And they did that and got a couple guys that could make a difference in the future.
Yeah, you wrote about Mason West as well. And West was the football player, right?
Yeah, 3-star quarterback in Minnesota.
3-star. It's not a lot. Not a lot of stars. Anyway, that's fine. Let him play. He's going to play one more year of high school football. Nick Bass, Canes Prospects, at Canes Prospects on Twitter. Also the Substack where I read a ton leading into the draft. So why don't we start with the goalie? I don't believe you might have written about the goalies in a post that I missed. But the goalie, I saw the highlights. Goalie certainly looked like a future, a legitimate prospect to me.
Yeah, Semyon Frolov was one of the highest rated guys that I was on. Obviously, he's a big Russian. He's 6'3". He's very good technically. I think he still needs to rein in some of the wildness, which I think Canes fans know that having a wild Russian goalie from time to time isn't a bad thing, but it definitely needs to be toned down. But a lot of his stats from the third division of Russia, the NHL, have looked really, really solid. Big Russian goalie, you bet on the traits, and down the line, people have been really high on him to be like a 1A starter, potentially, probably closer to a 1B, but that's definitely something really good to take in the second round.
I was actually surprised that Carolina, given what's in their organization pipeline right now, I was kind of surprised they didn't take 3 goalies of their 7 picks, because they're really, Carolina's got to basically shop around to find goaltending depth. Spencer Martin and Dustin Tokarski are nice, but they found themselves last year at a point where Martin and Tokarski were the tandem, and that you just can't have that as the case. Before I get to the rest of the Russians, what did you think of Charlie Serrato in the second round?
It definitely caught me off guard just because he is a double overager as he's already 20. But the more research I did into the player, the more I came around on him because of just the higher floor that he has. He had a great freshman year at Penn State where he really proved that he can be a top 6 center on a really good college team, and that is definitely something the Canes would like to value. And it seems like he can play center going forward. He was really strong in the dot for a very good Penn State team. So I'm interested to see how he goes on next year, because that's a guy that could probably be in the NHL sooner rather than later than a lot of these guys they took this year.
Yeah, it almost like he doesn't profile exactly the same way, but it almost seems like they drafted Jack Drury.
Kind of, yeah. I can kind of see that. I might like Serrato a little bit more offensively, but Drury would have him beat defensively right now.
Yeah, but just think about where Jack Drury would be if not every goal was called back for somebody interfering with a goaltender. Nick Bass, Canes Prospects, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, now let's get back into the Russians. I read your write-up of Ivan Ryabkin before the draft, and I thought, man, this sounds exactly like somebody Carolina would take, because he's going to be all over the map. There were red flags all over the place. I'd read about a bunch of other things, like there's attitude, there's conditioning, blah, blah, blah. But there was production everywhere he went, whether it was Russia or even in Muskegon for 30 or 27 games where he had 30 points. There was production, and the elite prospects profile of him isn't very different from what you wrote about, that like he plays in a way that Carolina doesn't have. He plays with an attitude.
Yeah, he is. I tried to post some highlights after the draft. It took me a minute to find everything, but he plays very physically. He might be a little too aggressive on some of these hits, but he throws some mean ones, and that's for being listed at 5'11", even though he is about 205 or 206.
Yeah.
I'm actually at Canes camps and I was looking at a sheet, but yeah, he's built like a fridge basically. He throws really heavy hits, and he has a very dynamic offensive skill set. If everything can work out, you're talking about a guy that's probably a top 10 to 20 talent in this class if he can put everything together. A guy that can be, in the top 6 and potentially on your power play.
So do you understand why teams shy away from Russian players?
The last couple years, yes, because I think they've been worried about, getting players over and maybe getting tape on some guys, getting in real-life viewings. But I think the Canes and also as well the Canadians, they've been very adept at being like, hey, we'll gladly take these guys that, other teams might pass over, and we see the value in them, and that's why you've seen guys like, Nikita Artemonov from last year just, was one of the best rookies or second-year players in the KHL, and how they got so much value out of the past few years is that teams are a little nervous about these guys actually making it to North America. But, NCAA has been maybe not just as bad, or it could be just as bad with some of these guys that have left. So I think it's like that. I think scouts called it the Russian factor. I think it's falling by the wayside at this point, but it's still there to a certain extent.
The Hurricanes certainly seem like they got pretty good value, certainly in at least one of the two Russian defensemen. Limitov, who's 6'3", 200 pounds, when asked who the best defenseman in the NHL was, answered me in 5 years. If confidence matters, they certainly have checked that box. What are your thoughts on Limitov?
I was very happy to see him get taken in the third round. A lot of places has him, late first, early second. And when you watch the kid who is 6'4" and almost 200 pounds skate, you are blown away. He is one of the most effortless skaters. His mobility is excellent. He is just, when you have a base like that for the size that he is, if he develops some of the other aspects, you are talking about a guy that could be a top 4 defender in the future. And if he fills out the frame, he plays aggressive. It was a heck of a pick in my opinion.
We're talking with Nick Bass, Canes Prospects, on Twitter. Also, the Substack, you should check that out. The other guy, Bosov, I don't know how to pronounce his name. We're certainly we're not going to have to worry about communicating with Alexander Nikishin anymore because half the team is going to be Russian. 6'5", 190 pounds. And Darren York talked about he's a good skater, but he's got such great range and reach. And he said this is the way the game is going when you're trying to take away space. There's less space when you've got guys with a wingspan of 9 feet. Yeah,
Valsov was a lot lesser known, but he's 6'5". He's a right-handed defenseman. His skating is already really solid. He's pretty physical again, which is nice for a guy of his size. He's a little bit behind Limitov in terms of where the offense is and maybe his defense to a certain extent. But you bet on the physical intangibles that he already has and his skating developing alongside with him. So it's another really solid pick for a guy, again, that's gigantic and a right-handed defenseman, which seemed to be the theme of the draft this year. If you were under 6 feet tall, you were just not even getting looked at.
All right, before we let you go, the two Swedes they took in the 6th and 7th rounds, Viggo Nordlund and Ekberg, Philip Ekberg. I love that. What do you think?
Viggo Nordlund played with one Canes prospects over the past couple years in Oscar Voulet, and his offensive talent is unbelievable. A lot of his offensive ability is close to dynamic. His skating is really good. I think the issues with him is going to be people are going to see, 5'9", 5'10", and be a little thrown off. But a player like that with the skill he possesses, you bet on and hope that he can just continue going. And if he ends up developing, some more physicality in his game to where he's not, getting pushed off the puck, that is a player that you really, really like, especially with that amount of skill. Ekberg was one I was very shocked to see him fall that far because of just how well he did at the U18 World Juniors. He absolutely dominated the event with, I believe, 18 points in 8 games. He won MVP. He had a really good close to the year with the Ottawa 67s in the OHL.
Yeah.
And again, he's another player that has he's halfway decent skating wise. That probably needs to improve, but the offensive ability is something you bet on, especially in the 7th round when you can get a guy that dominated against players his own age. You bet on his skill continuing to develop.
All right, final thing, and then we will say goodbye to Nick Bass. And this is about current prospects, and I'm not going to ask you. We all know Bradley Nadeau can score goals, And it remains to be seen whether he scores goals for Carolina or if he's used as a chip to get something else. But behind Scott Morrow, what can you tell us about Joel Nystrom or Badinka, their first pick in the second round from last year, in terms of pushing Morrow to be maybe the next right defenseman up?
So Joel Nystrom is definitely up there. He's one of the best skaters out of their whole prospect pool. He was very good with Farjestad in the SHL, which is Sweden's top league. He was one of their better defensemen for the better part of 3 to 4 years. Him coming to North America is big. I'm still a little leery on saying how close ready he is, just because the transition from Europe and places like that to North America is different. But I like how he looked in the last few games for Chicago to end the year, and I do really like his chances to become an NHL player down the line. But Dinka is a lot more raw. He really needs another season at the AHL level to fully develop, and I would not sleep on, personally, their other right-handed defenseman on the Wolves roster, Charles Alexis Legault, who, if we all remember, had the fight in the preseason. He is a big, physical shutdown defender who impressed me a lot with how he played for the Wolves over the past, the whole season. He really developed into, their first unit PK right-handed defenseman, a guy they could trust to play in their top four. And, he's still not that old. He's only 21 years old. He'll turn 22 in September, but he is a guy that I definitely see having an NHL future. And if the Canes are looking for a guy that is a lot more defense-oriented than somebody like Scott Morrow, I definitely think Legault would have a look there.
Yeah, I actually talked to Tim Gleason about him last training camp, and he loves him. And he plays with some physicality, and Carolina's obviously looking for that. Jacob Slavin told me he would like to see the team become a little bit harder to play against physically. And he called himself out for it, but we don't need Jacob Slavin to do things that Jacob Slavin doesn't need to do. Let other people do that, Jacob. Nick Bass, Canes Prospect on Substack, also Twitter, and Nick But Not for personal thoughts on things. I appreciate your time, man, and I know you're out there at development camp. Thank you very much for giving us a few minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on.
You got it. Nick Bass here on the Adam Gold Show. I'll bet down the road he'll be back on a podcast with us. But they also do their own thing. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got one-timers next.
From the heels,
touchdown, Carolina,
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
My name is Andrew Dotson. I'm a peer support specialist here at Phoenix Counseling Center. As a young man, 18 years old, I joined the military, went to Afghanistan in 2012, went through some hard situations, saw some things that were traumatizing. There's a number that I memorized, 105. That's the room number right around the corner. Room 105 was where I stayed last time I was a patient here, right before I got ready to really get sober. The first step in recovery is walking through the door and saying I need help.
Visit ncdhhs.gov/crisis services.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
When people put their feet under a table, it means more than just consuming food. Getting the restaurant back open, that meant to the community a lot of normalcy. The public health department checked the wells so that we knew where we could get water that was able to be used.
And it was neighbor helping neighbor, and I'm so proud to work in this little small county.
NC Public Health, everywhere, every day, everyone.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is Adam Gold.
I did love that Rod video with him, though, when he was trying to communicate.
Yeah, you speak hockey.
And he was like, it's okay, you don't need to know this, you know hockey. And I was like, oh, heartstrings. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Spent an entire week getting ready for the NHL draft, and the Hurricanes made me wait till Saturday. I also did not watch the NBA draft.
No.
The drafts, to me, why?
The NHL one, that was just brutal.
I mean, it is what I actually watched that because there was nothing else on.
I did too.
Literally, there was nothing else on.
I mean, I felt like I was watching paint dry on the wall.
Can't watch the news anymore. So there's nothing else. So I watched the draft. That's it.
To see Bettman take all that time to walk out just to get somebody else to introduce and do their awkward joke or life story, then to see the pick, like, bro hug no less than 20 guys on his way up there.
Yeah, it took a long time.
And then this draft house, they just moved this wall like The Price is Right. I don't know.
It's a showcase showdown back there.
I know.
That would be great. So we should spin a wheel,
yeah,
right? Exactly.
Blinko something.
We could. Yeah, it's no good. But I do think that part of that was like, you know what? This is gonna look stupid.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna make all you guys look stupid.
Yep. Here comes the trade alert
Then I'm
button.
gonna say next year we ain't doing it this way. Yeah. By the way, they came to an agreement on a collective bargaining agreement. So labor peace for another 5 years, beyond the length of this contract. So good on the NHL and the Players Association as the cap is rising a lot.
Yeah.
I think they're realizing, all right, it's pretty good. Let's keep the train moving.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe other sports will not have labor peace. Major League Baseball, likely headed that way. And we'll take advantage of that. All right, it's one-timers.
All right, right, so looking at our YouTube stream, or you can at me on the Twitters, we've got William who wants to know, do you expect a big first free agent day for the Canes tomorrow? Also, when's your next podcast so I can enjoy my Appalachian Longleaf IPA? Delicious.
I did a podcast Saturday night. What was the first part of that question?
And do you expect a big first free agent day for the Canes tomorrow?
No, I don't. Again, all of this is in the pod, but in a nutshell, because that's fair, Carolina's not going to get involved, even though I think that there are players that they should even overpay for. They're not going to get involved in day one of free agency unless it's for something they believe they can see a market inefficiency. But do I think they're going to get in a bidding war for Nick Ehlers or Brock Besser? No. Do I think, I know, because they have a ton of money to spend and they don't need a lot of players. Again, the name Mitch Marner was thrown out there. I'm like, man, they ain't going after Mitch Marner, on top of the fact that that's not what they need. So, no, I do not expect that, but there's a fresh podcast up as of Saturday night.
All right, this might be the last one, but from Chef Wolf, thoughts on the return of the college basketball video games?
I don't know. I don't play. Here's my response to any video game question. If you like it and have fun, yes, then I'm a big fan. But I don't play them. I've never played those video games. My kid loves the new FIFA and he loves the new MLB The Show.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. 'Cause I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious.
Mountain Dew!
Do the do.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum, and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
Parenting is hard. Technology can make it harder. The family media plan developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics helps make it easier. Go to healthychildren.org/media plan today to create the media plan that's right for your family.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Cooper was asked about what position does he see himself at, and he said it's a versatile position, doing a lot of different things, and he just wants to play a really good brand of positionless basketball. Jason Kidd took it a little further and says he doesn't look at the position, but he does want to play him at point. He wants to make him uncomfortable and see how he reacts. Now, those that remember when Jason Kidd was with the Milwaukee Bucks, he did the same thing with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I think that unlocked his game even further, and that's why we see the 2-time MVP that he's become.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. NHL Day 1 free agency is tomorrow. We all want the same thing. Hurricanes fans, of which I am one of. I've never hid that fact at all. I think it's okay to not only cover the team but also be a fan. As long as you can do it objectively, I think I can do it objectively. And I also I understand, even though some of the things that I want to do, I know the team won't do, because the team is not otherwise looking at it the way we are. They look at it more analytically. They do not want to make, bad decisions because they feel like bad decisions set them back. And I totally understand. Part of the reasons why they will not really go hard after free agents is because they don't want to spend more money than they have to for certain players. And that's just the way it is with this organization, which is why you haven't seen. Like, honestly, I was shocked when Dmitry Orlov was signed 2 years ago at $7.75 million. I'm like, didn't see that coming. They don't like to do that. But it was also just a 2-year deal. By the way, Orlov will be on the free agent market starting tomorrow. Kevin Weeks, not on the free agent market, but by gosh, he's everywhere. He is an analyst. He is an insider. He is an entrepreneur. He is a business owner. And tell me, before we get into free agency, Mr. Weeks, about Inside Edge on YouTube, which starts tomorrow, right?
Thank you so much for that kind intro. Hope you're doing well.
I am.
Shout out to all the Caniacs out there. Yeah, we're launching our new platform, our new hockey content platform for the fans. It's called The Inside Edge. We're going to be doing a ton of content, breaking news, breaking down breaking news, inside information, breakdowns, interviews, you name it. And today, actually, we pushed it up by a day. Today, we will be having our pre-agency show. I had a free agency opening tomorrow. So we'll be live at about 8 p.m. We're going to have a slew of great guests, Elliot Friedman, fellow insider, as well as Emily Kaplan, fellow insider. Of course, she's with us on ESPN,
Yeah.
Elliot Friedman and Sportsnet up in Canada. We'll also have Craig Button, longtime NHL general manager, who's also on TSN up in Canada, won the Stanley Cup as a GM with the Dallas Stars. Also joining us will be a player guest, a surprise player guest.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, my guy, EJ Radick, who's been covering the sport for 30 years, works with me on the NHL Network. We do a bunch of games together. We just did Stanley Cup together. So, yeah, we're going to have a lot of great guests joining tonight for our inaugural show, our launch show. And all the details will be made available to a lot of the great fans on my Twitter, @KevWeeks, within the hour in terms of a direct link. It's a pay-per-view. We have a $5 pay-per-view and a $3,000 super prize pack for a lucky fan. And I love it. And Adam, let me just give them what the gold is. We're going to play on your last name. Let me give them the gold rush
Gotcha.
of what the super prize pack is. The super prize pack will be 2 tickets to their favorite home team. Let's say in this case, it'll be the Canes if it's a Canes winner. 2 tickets to the season home opener, a $1,000 gift card for NHL.com to shopNHL.com to get them all geared up for the season with all their favorite swag, and a $1,000 Visa gift card so they can kind of throw themselves a party in anticipation of the new NHL season. So we want to be connected to the fans as always and give back to the fans. And this is kind of another expansion on that with this latest venture.
That is absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
And only for a $5 pay-per-view. That very good. The Inside Edge and all the information will come on Kevin's Twitter @KevinWeeks. All right, so let me get into. By the way, we just had EJ Radick on, not last week, but the week before. I know you guys were doing the games together on the international broadcast. We talked to EJ all the time. Our friend Ben Seltzer is now part of our family here, so I know you.
My buddy Alka.
Yeah,
Alka Seltzer.
Very nice.
That's my boy. That's our boy. Yes.
I'll use that. He's going to hang out with me tomorrow during the first day of free agency.
Nice. You got a good one in him too.
Oh, he's great. You know the organization well. It's pretty unlikely. I mean, I think you can make an argument that the Hurricanes should go hard after an Aaron Ekblad who looks like he's going to be in the free agent pool. But this is not an organization that goes hard after free agents because they don't like to spend the free agent tax, which, I don't know, 10, 15% over what they value the players at.
Yeah, every team has their own model for sure. Canes have their own model under Tom Dundon and Eric Tulsky and the group. Let me just say my man Rod Brindamore is one of the best in the business.
Yep.
He's helped transform the franchise as well and restore it to the heights that it was at during our 02 team, and more importantly, during their cup-winning team. So it's nice to see. Yeah, you're right. They don't typically pay the premium. And in saying that, it's not to say that they haven't taken some swings. I heard you mentioning Orlov before, but it was on shorter term. They made a major swing this year in acquiring Mikko Rantanen.
Yep.
We just did the Canes game on ESPN in Dallas the day before, and I remember talking to Tom and Eric in the hallway. I'm like, what do you guys have cooking? I hear you guys have something cooking. And, of course, there's sheepish grins, and they were looking the other way. The next day, bingo, bango, they trade for Rantanen. I'm like, what? Guys, I was just talking to you. Like, I'm a former Caniac. What are we doing? So anyway, which was a huge move, of course. And, then, of course, the Gensel acquisition last year. But I would say this. They have taken swings. It's not for a lack of taking swings. It's just to your point, they haven't taken as many in free agency. But a name that you just mentioned, Aaron Ekblad, I was actually just talking to my agent about him yesterday. My agent doesn't represent him yet, Sergei Bobrovsky there.
Okay.
Paul Theophanis, who's got a really good relationship with Tom Dundon. But I was talking to him last night, and I said, this Ekblad is a different player. Like, I've known him since he was 15. And these last 3 years, he's just taken his game to a different height. He was always smooth and, just efficient and could chip in offensively, pretty good defensively. But the last 3 years, he's got a newfound aggression and physicality in his game that I'd never seen before. And it's impressive. So if I'm him, I would certainly love to re-sign in Florida for a whole host of reasons, just based on what they've accomplished and what they've done. If I'm them, of course, I would like to keep him because we drafted him and had him here since he was 18. But ultimately, as of July 1st, once that clock hits 12:01 a.m. Eastern, anything could happen. I'm curious to see what does.
Yeah,
but I think he could be a nice fit for the Canes, though.
I mean, I said it. They won't. I don't think they'll get into a bidding war for Nick Ehlers, who I know they like, or Brock Besser, who I'm not sure they like. But I know they won't get into bidding wars for them. But if I were advising them and they don't need my advice nor want my advice, that's to me, Ekblad is a guy I would try to win a bidding war for because they need a top flight right defenseman. And as you alluded to, he checks other boxes of physicality and some attitude that this is a team. That's really what separates them. And there's a lot of things that separate them in Florida. Every team is looking at the same thing. But they need some of that element to sort of bridge the gap between them and the Panthers.
I agree. Listen, as mentioned, I've been saying it for the last really since Roddy's come aboard and the new ownership. I've been saying the Canes are a Stanley Cup contender, and I say it every year. And I said it most recently at the start of this season that just concluded. The Canes are a Cup contender, make no mistake about it, but you need a little extra X factor. And whatever that looks like, whether it's a game breaker that can bust the game open and score a big-time goal in the postseason when you need them, whether it's a defenseman that can lay a big hit at the right time or chip in offensively, any of those different things. You just need some X factor juice in that group, and already what's a good team. And, if you look at Aaron Ekblad, for example, listen, he's played in 3 straight Stanley Cups now. 3. He's won 2. So he has the recipe. So that certainly would help, and the intangibles. So those things would certainly help the group there in Carolina. And we know they've got a great blue line, and they have a really good team. But I've always said this, and I tell all my people within the Canes organizations and, some of my friends that live all across NC, I just tell them the same thing. Just a little extra X factor to where Roddy could put that player over the boards. They could deliver a big moment, a big moment at a critical time. I feel like that's one of the things that's missing from their group, and hopefully they can add it.
Yeah, and they've got $28.5 million worth of cap room, and really, if you were looking at their roster today, at best, one player to fill out an opening night lineup. They have everything else covered, so it's all about improving their team. Let me ask you about a couple of, as a goalie, I mean, Freddie was good enough in the postseason. It's not like they have to get goaltending help. It'd be great, and I talked to Rod about this, if Kochetkov could get some of the bad goals out of his game, he might be able to take his own game to another level.
Yeah, look, I've known both guys, and I've known Freddie since he came into the league in Anaheim. My good buddy Sudsy Maharaj is the goaltending coach in Anaheim. And I remember when Freddie first got called up, it was a game Gibson got pulled, and Freddie went in, and I'm like, who's this guy? I like this guy too. He's like, yeah, if he gets his game in order and if he continues to focus on his fitness, this guy can be in the league a long time. He's got a real bright upside. So from then I've been tracking him. When the Leafs signed him, I told Lou Lamoriello then the same thing. It was right before World Cup of Hockey in 2016 up in Toronto, and I told him there I thought that was a good signing. And when the Canes got him, I told the people there the same thing. I've always been a Freddie guy. I think the challenge has been some injuries, as we know. He's battled some injuries, but you're right. When he's been in the net, he's been steady and excellent, and he played very well in the postseason. Pyotr Kochetkov, for a lot of the listeners, my good buddy I grew up playing with in youth hockey in Toronto. We played together in junior in Ottawa in the OHL, and for the Florida Panthers, Dave Nemirovsky, he coached Kochetkov in Russia. And when the Canes drafted him, he said, I think the Canes got a goalie here. I'm like, really? I go, who? He goes, my guy, Kochetkov. I'm like, oh. So I like Pyotr. He's got a lot of talent. Our good buddy Trip Tracy down there, would certainly echo that. I just think he's got the talent. He has the aptitude. And you're right. If he can eliminate that untimely goal that he can stop based on his talent, that would take his game to the next level. But there's a lot to work with there. It's just him finding a way to eliminate that. I couldn't agree more.
Kevin Weeks is joining us here, and if you want the Inside Edge, it starts tonight at 8 o'clock on YouTube. All the information will come in Kevin Weeks on Kevin Weeks' Twitter page. Let me ask you about it. Just a couple of players kind of down the board that might be available via free agency. Mikael Granlund had a really good postseason for Dallas.
He did.
They have no room to keep anybody. Is he somebody that Carolina should look at?
Why not? He's proven that he could play in the postseason. He's proven he could play in the regular season. He plays multiple positions. Hard-working Finnish player. I'm sure he knows and has a relationship with Fishy, who they call down there, Mr. Aho, among others. And, I've always liked his versatility. I like his skill set. He's unafraid to make plays in the hard areas. And, every team, I shouldn't say every, the good teams have an identity. They have a defined identity and what their characteristics are. The Canes have those. I think he's somebody that they can plug into their system. And you don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be a huge out-of-pocket spend, but I think there could be some value there as a good top six, maybe middle six player for the Canes that's a professional. I know the way our boy Roddy B operates and respect the hell out of him. And I don't think that Granlund will have any problems with that. He'd fit into that seamlessly, into that group. And I think he could be a nice piece for them, potentially. I really do. But here's the one thing, too, for the listeners.
Sure.
Is as I broke the Noah Dotson trade the other day, the morning of the draft from L.A., and then what's the other one I broke on the plane? There's another one that I just broke on the plane as well. I got to go to my Twitter. But the reason why I say that, the reason why I actually referenced that is even though the draft was going on, there's still trades that are being made. And it was a John Gibson one. Gibson to Detroit. But even though the draft was going on, there's still some trades to be made, not as many as we thought. But I certainly believe with free agency opening, there's going to be a lot of activity. And also keep in mind, I've spoken to two agents about this last night. With the upcoming CBA, the max term contract, if you re-sign with your original team, will drop from 8 to 7 years. And if you sign with a new team, it'll drop from 7 to 6. So that could also spur activity. You could also see instances where teams may even re-sign their own unrestricted free agent and trade them because the player wants that extra year now. They want to maximize on the 8-year now.
Right.
So there's a lot that's in play. There's certainly been a lot that I've been privy to, and I'm just curious to see how much of this shakes out.
Yeah, and I do think we might see that with Toronto and Mitch Marner. That could happen. I wonder if that would happen with Rasmus Andersson and the Calgary Flames. How do you see that coming out?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what happens there. Like, obviously, they re-signed Kevin Ball to that deal yesterday, signed him to an extension. He's a part of their top four. For whatever reason, I've never gotten the sense that it's been 100% with Anderson there, and I don't know why. He's been a good player for them. But, yeah, I do know that he's from teams that I've spoken to. He's an attractive piece. The Flames have certainly been gauging interest, and it would be of benefit to him, certainly, if he can get the extra year, if he wants to move on to sign with Calgary and do a sign and trade. And then obviously it would then be of value to the team because they would get an asset or some type of a package in return. So it's a good way to do business. We haven't seen it very often, certainly not as much as you see it in the NBA.
Right.
But as mentioned, that's one of the flavors of choice in the NBA. But as mentioned in the NHL, now with this kind of changing of the landscape with this new CBA extension, I think we could see a lot more of that going forward.
Kevin Weeks, a man who breaks news on planes. I don't know how you do that, but you do. At Kevin Weeks, the Inside Edge, the pre-agency show tonight at 8 o'clock. I appreciate your time, sir. I know you are a busy man with a lot of irons in the fire, so thank you very much for carving out a few minutes.
No problem, Adam. Thanks for having me. I see our little guy looking at me through the screen door, so I'll go in there and put him down for his nap before he asks for another treat. But anyway, no, thanks so much for having me. And always, man, shout out and love to the Caniacs down there. Appreciate all of you. You know how much I love my time there in Greensboro, too, with the Monarchs. So shout out to everybody down there in beautiful Canesville. Hope you're doing well.
Kevin, thank you very much.
All All right, my man. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Kevin Weeks here on the Adam Gold Show. Hey, he likes Ekblad too.
Yeah. How can you not?
You got a lot of money. Do you have to go to like over 9 to get him? You might. But when the cap goes up, the value of everybody's contract, all the existing contracts, the value drops. So this is what I see a lot of, and I'm not criticizing this comment because 2 years ago, you're right. 7.75, which is I think what Lindholm makes with Elias Lindholm with Boston. But let's not even use Elias Lindholm. Let's use Andrei Svechnikov, who makes $7.75 million. He's not producing at the level that we want him to produce. But if we're being fair, $7.75 million today is about, 60 points as a scoring wing. You know, if you bring other things to the party, if you will, if you bring great defense or attitude or something like that, if you bring physicality, sandpaper, character, all of those things, then, maybe a little bit less production, and it's still a properly slotted contract. So what was maybe too much, even a year ago, isn't too much today. The numbers are going, the value of your $7.5 million a year contract is lower today than it was a year ago, 2 years ago. And that number is going to keep getting diminished. I pointed this out. Ben was actually in here before the show began, and Ben's going to hang out with us some tomorrow during free agency day. Seth Jarvis's cap hit is $7.42 million. That has the potential to look stupid low in 2 years. When the cap is at nearly $114 million, which it's going to be 2 years from now, $113.5. We're going to be at $99.5 next year. So we're going up an additional $14 million 2 years from now. Not next year, but the year after. When the cap is at $113.5, Jarvis's contract is going to be a joke. So the value is different today than it was then. It's going to be different. Noah Dobson signed for $9.5 million a year. That's way too much money for, my opinion, a younger version of Dougie Hamilton. You could take that any way you want. Dobson can be an outstanding offensive defenseman, but he's got a lot of Dougie Hamilton type traits. Not great defensively, good skater, can disappear. This is certainly not a good year, but the Islanders didn't have a good year. The $9.5 million, that isn't going to be terrible when Cale Makar signs next offseason for about $15 million, because that's what the number's probably going to be. Value is different. Value changes. $7.5 million, $7.75 million, whatever it is, that's middle six. That's what it is. It's middle six. It's not star level salaries. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. I promised we were going to talk a little bit about the Hornets. Our friend Konata Edwards, not the scribe. We'll talk about the Hornets draft and where they're going next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
With free agency coming up, I don't know a lot about economics, but I know this. When there's a little supply, it's going to make the demand high. There's not many centers out there, and the Canes need one, so just be prepared for this. Either you're going to get a player you like, but the cost is going to be too much, or you're going to get a player you don't like, but you'll like the cost. You can't have it all.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It is I, Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. Yes, I am back in Raleigh. Do I go downtown with so many places to party? No, I go to the Sharky's place. The good food, the fine drinks, the coldest of beers, and of course, the many, many beautiful people. I always hang at the Sharky's place, the coolest bar in the world, because, well, it was built for me. Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. The Sharky's place, 8800 the Raleigh Road by the Shelley Station.
Let's move! We have soccer practice, dance, and a play date.
Life moves fast, so every second counts, especially when it comes to big decisions like buying a car. That's why searching through Navy Federal's car buying service powered by TrueCar is a perfect place to start.
Thanks, Mom!
Navy Federal can help you find and finance the right vehicle so you can go wherever life takes you. Visit NavyFederal.org/TrueCar to learn more. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Credit and collateral subject to approval.
Discover the 4th of July sale at Target. Save 20% on clothing and swimwear for women, select cookies with Target Circle, and up to 50% off Sun Squat sporting goods. Get ready for a fireworks-worthy celebration with patriotic cookies, fun sports gear, and of course, spectacular fits. The deal's in July 5th, so hurry and get 20% off apparel, select cookies with Target Circle, and 50% off Sun Squat sports gear, only at Target. Restrictions apply.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Sports allow us to play, learn, and grow. But there's something more important than victory. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we believe every athlete deserves to be safe. Safe from abuse and misconduct on and off the field. We equip athletes, parents, coaches, and others with the right education to recognize, prevent, and respond to harmful behavior. Join the movement to champion respect and end abuse at uscenterforsafesport.org.
A dog? I'm not. I was born for a purpose, to bring you hope, to guide you out of darkness. When past battles cloud your mind, I push them away. You tell me I'm your hero, just as you are mine. A dog? I'm not. With me, you see the world again.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Within 15 seconds of logging onto social media, the algorithm has your daughter in its crosshairs. Congress knows, but it refuses to act. Use your voice. Demand a plan. Join us at the Center for Countering Digital Hate, protectingkidsonline.org.
Early detection for breast cancer saved my life. But women with disabilities face a lack of accessible medical facilities and equipment. To learn more, visit pva.org now.
Jumpstart your retirement savings at WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
There will be tushes pushed in the NFL in 2025.
Pushing tushes.
There you go.
Happy Hump Day!
That's brilliant.
The Adam Gold Show.
Konata Edwards, CBSSports.com, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So 40% of Duke's starting lineup is now with the Charlotte Hornets. I like that.
Yes.
I don't even hate.
Yes.
I don't even hate the fact that part of that isn't Cooper Flagg. It would have been great, but you sort of got the mini version of Cooper Flagg in Con Knipple. Do you think that was a good way for the Hornets to go at number 4?
I would have preferred Trey Johnson, but I also understand why everybody is very excited. Trey Johnson, it would have taken him at least 2 or 3 years to fill into an NBA body. Knipple is NBA ready right now, has the footwork, is going to be a very complimentary piece. This year is going to be about, and we'll talk about it more down the line, Adam, but this year is about figuring out if you have either a number 1 guy in LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller. Knipple is going to help be that litmus test to figure all that out. He's going to be a very, very good pro. The ceiling isn't going to be what everybody seems to think it is, but it's still a very, very, very high floor. And for Charlotte, they need a lot of high floor guys.
All right, I can help out with LaMelo right now. I could tell you right now that he is not that guy, that he is definitely talented and will put up numbers as if he can stay healthy. But this is my opinion of him has not changed from day one, is that he is not a guy that will help you win. They could be a playoff team, and he's not going to stop them from being that. But ultimately, I look at LaMelo Ball as a guy who's like, I would rather have a healthy Lonzo than a healthy LaMelo. Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense in one aspect because, and we talk about Lonzo, and the Cavs just made that deal for him, which was a heist in itself. But I would also tell you, like, I get that, but I also remember the games. And again, granted, a lot of these were in front of empty gyms with no people during the time of COVID. So I understand this. But I saw a LaMelo raise the ceiling on a team that had Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, and very little else. So I'm somewhere in the middle of this.
Okay.
I think he's a top 3 on a championship team guy. I'm pretty sure he's not a number 1 guy. But still, if you have enough of those competent pieces, I think you can do a lot of things.
All right, let's just put a pin in that right there, and then we're going to we're eventually going to get to the trade that they have just made. But the rest of that draft, hey, if you can't draft the best player off Mount Verde, you can draft one of the other best players off Cooper Flagg's high school team, Liam McNeely, who they did not draft, but they traded for. So him, Sion James, Ryan Kalkenbrenner, like, it doesn't sound like a terrible draft haul for them.
This was an excellent draft. Like, Jeff Peterson cooked. Let's make no mistake here. Sion James, they're comparing him to Lou Dort. If he's anything like Lou Dort, he's going to be the best wing defender since the number 2 pick in Michael Kidd-Gilchrist in Charlotte. That's how good he's going to be. And I would tell you that Liam McNeely, he was the leader of a UConn team that we saw put the fear of God into Florida.
Yes.
Like, we saw that.
Should have won the game. They should have won the game.
Should have won the game.
Yeah.
But everyone's talking about he's not a shooter, he's not this, he's not that. He was the point guard. His numbers are going to be up with NBA spacing and actual other NBA players on the floor. I feel like that's probably one of the biggest deals in the draft. And then we just talked about Knipple. Kalkbrenner, if he's Diet Brooke Lopez, you take that out of the 33rd pick. Like, you take that. You take that. So, I do think he's an NBA player. I just think he's going to be a rotational big. And if he's just that, then you take that with the 34th pick in the draft and run.
I see him more as tall guy than big guy.
Yes.
But you know what? Diet Brooke Lopez, I think it would be better if we said Brooke Lopez, zero sugar.
Absolutely. Hey, as someone that just exclusively drinks zero sugar drinks, I am completely for that right now. So I completely agree. You've warmed my heart. Thank you, Adam.
You're right. Colin Sexton in a trade with, was it, I don't even know. Utah. That's right. Trading with Utah is always good. I actually like Colin Sexton. I think Colin Sexton could be, you said, that Ball could be the third, the top 3 guy on a great team. I think Sexton, to me, is a better version of that, who doesn't need to be the star, that can be that third option on a top team.
I love the addition of Colin Sexton, especially for a guy that they traded in Yusuf Nurkic, and they got a pick back for that.
Right.
Like, Jeff Peterson has been doing work, Adam. I would tell you that, and there's a theme to this, and I just want to point this part out, is that you're seeing a lot of guys that are an influx of professional guys that are going to work hard. Jeff Peterson has been just beating the idea of Hornets DNA, guys that come in, compete, work. We saw this team just win 19 games and largely look listless. If nothing else, even if this team wins only 25 games, it's going to look different. It's going to look like there's a plan. Last year was clearly an evaluation year, but with a guy like Colin Sexton who just goes into whatever he does with 110%. Remember, that's the same guy that went into 3-on-5 at Alabama and almost won a game.
Yeah.
Scored 40 in that. so you're talking about a guy that is going to continue to go. There's a clip of him actually playing defense this year on Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson, like, he's guarding him to where Jalen Brunson's halfway in the tunnel and Sexton's still with him. That's the kind of grit and stick-to-itiveness this team has needed for quite a long time. And Jeff Peterson is clearly addressing that. And if you really just look at the roster transformation in the last 2 years, Jeff Peterson has gotten rid of a lot of the pretty boys.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of reputations where this team was unserious, and more important, this locker room was soft. And you see the transformation, and you're going to continue to see this transformation as they're trying to be a more, how would I say this nicely, professional unit.
Look, you need a lot of that. We're going to get to that in a second. Konata Edwards, at Nada the Scribe on Twitter, CBS Sports, is joining us. To that end, you still have Grant Williams and Seth Curry on the roster, yeah?
Grant, yes. Seth is a free agent, and
okay.
Like, when they added Colin Sexton, I think that was the unofficial, hey, Seth, it's okay to go ring chase. I know you spent a year and change with your dad going to, again, ride sharing to work, but we have to start working on something else now.
Gotcha. I like Grant Williams. That to me, he's certainly one of those guys that is a worker, that is takes his job seriously. Has Mark Williams passed his physical yet with Phoenix? I think it was Phoenix, right?
Yes, but it's bated breath. I don't think they're going to rescind this trade. If this trade does not happen, I do not think that this is going to be because of Mark Williams and the physical. I do believe it's going to be something else. Like, Phoenix tried to basically squeeze something else in. And mind you, like, Phoenix doesn't still realize that Jeff Peterson robbed them.
Right.
Like, he still doesn't realize that. They still don't realize that, which also makes Matt Ishbia Midwest James Dolan, but that's another conversation for another day.
There you go. We don't have to talk about that at all. So what are the Hornets going to do at center? And we'll wrap up the conversation about the Hornets here. Do they have a center? I mean, I really don't look at Kalkbrenner as a center. I look at him more as a kind of a stretch four. But I mean, I could be wrong. What are they going to do at center?
I'm assuming the answer, to quote Dave Gettleman, is not on the roster.
Gotcha.
I believe that there is another move that they're going to make. I don't know what that move is going to look like. It might be former Tar Heel Day'Ron Sharpe. It could be Boston Celtic Luke Cornett, who brings a different skill set than any other center as he stretches the floor. I don't know, but it's going to be very fascinating. It might even be DeAndre Ayton.
I was just going to ask that.
Even though I don't think that's a great idea, because he's basically burned every bridge in every locker room that he's ever been in. So I'm not sure that the answer is really on the roster, but it's also going to be one of those fascinating things where I think they're going to have to move another couple of guys to do it, to get a center on the roster.
Is Boogie Cousins still playing somewhere? Didn't he get thrown out of a game like in Puerto Rico?
He got suspended. Yeah, exactly. He got suspended. No, Boogie Cousins moves worse laterally than me and you combined.
I don't know, man. I still have pretty good quickness. You haven't seen me.
Exactly.
You haven't seen me do the shuttle.
You can guard the pick and roll better than he can.
No, I can't guard the pick and roll, but I can shuttle back and forth fairly quickly. Konata Edwards, Nada the Scribe, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So is LeBron James going to leave L.A.? I mean, I haven't heard him say anything about it, but when I hear Rob Pelinka say that, we're looking for the future and we want to make the best, create the best situation for LeBron, it almost seems like he is paving the way for LeBron to leave.
I feel like we're headed to a mutual breakup. Like he wants to be competitive for a championship and everything else like that. I think we're headed for a mutual breakup, but I just have one question for LeBron. Like, who's trading for you? Like, if you were really going to leave, then opt out. But you're not going to opt out because no one really has money outside of Brooklyn, and that's not a championship situation. So we think about Cleveland. Cleveland would have to move at least 4 guys to trade for him to come home. You would think that like the best opportunity might be Denver, but is Rob Pelinka going to take back Michael Porter Jr. and a whole bunch of poo-poo platter picks? I'm not sure about that. Like, there's a lot of this that doesn't necessarily make sense. So I do think we're headed to a mutually breakup, but I don't think it's going to be this year. It might be next summer, or barring anything else, we may get a 1 year. Like, it doesn't make sense for the breakup, but I do think we're headed that way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know what that means for Bronny. I don't know what it means for J.J. Redick. But the Lakers took a big swing this year, and they missed. Part of that is, they didn't have a great roster. Even with LeBron and Luka, if both were at full health, I'm not sure they had a good enough roster. But that's another story for another time. Let me get to real quick. The Houston Rockets took the same swing that the Phoenix Suns took, that the Brooklyn Nets took by acquiring Kevin Durant.
Yes.
My thought is it only worked for a championship-ready team. It only worked for Golden State. This is nothing against KD. I just don't know if the Rockets are going to win a title, and they've got basically 1 year to do it.
I think this is a better situation than Phoenix, primarily because, as we talked about before, there's no Midwest James Dolan, Matt Ishbia, who's trying to control the entire process. There's none of that going on. And on top of that, when you think about what the Houston Rockets gave up, which is basically nothing, it's Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a bunch of picks that are going to be in the low 20s.
Right.
That's not really requisite compensation for a guy who's still a top 15 player in this league. So I think they did well, and more importantly, they still had enough. They've kept their powder dry enough to where if Giannis decides, I'm done with dealing with Doc, I'm done with Milwaukee, I want to actually go win. The Houston Rockets sneakily have the most assets outside of Oklahoma City to go get this guy. So while we say it's not enough, it can be enough quickly enough because the Houston Rockets have enough assets, thanks to Phoenix, to where they can go do something and add more to this roster. So while we don't think this roster is enough for right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes enough by February.
All right, final thing as we let Konata Edwards go, at Nada the Scribe on Twitter. Has Club World Cup fever overtaken the city of Charlotte?
Sir, we are a Charlotte FC city first and foremost.
Okay, good. I like that.
And then we are Club World Cup. I had a chance to go get Real Madrid tickets. I missed out because I had to do something else. Silly me, I had to work.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's been an awesome experience pretty much for all this Club World Cup stuff, even though we know it's a blatant money grab, even though it feels gross.
Yeah.
It's awfully fun if you get to see it live.
No, then individual matches have been awesome, right? But the people can't wrap their minds around my point that the entire event is a farce. But individual matches certainly bring a lot of excitement. There wasn't a great showing for Chelsea. It was about 27,000 tickets sold for Chelsea. Who did they play? Palmeiras. Chelsea Palmares, Enzo Maresca lost his mind. Like, I can't believe we're having a match here. There's lightning. I'm like, yeah, you know what? We have thunderstorms all over the globe, Enzo. Sorry about that. You caught us in a hot moment, but of course we should have predicted that. June, July in the United States, certainly in the South in the United States, can be a little toasty.
Foresight, Adam? Are you really expecting foresight out of
No.
the FIFA officials?
No, gosh, no. As long as the check clears, that's all they care about. Konata Edwards, my friend, not a scribe on Twitter. We will do it again soon, but we're not talking again until the Mets win 2 more in a row.
Oh, so basically we're not talking until September is what you're telling me.
Stop. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
You
heard it here first. All right, man, I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, we haven't talked any baseball because the Mets are like in a...
Oh, my gosh. They are having a slump.
In the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. In the toilet.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that happens in June.
Yeah. Yeah. And July.
I was going to say it.
So, do you remember last year when the Mets actually kind of kicked on?
Yeah.
Remember what the impetus was?
That Grimace, right? Oh, you got to bring him back. No.
Grimace threw out the first pitch, I believe, of the first game of the Rays series.
Oh, all right.
3-13 since.
Oh, no.
Look, I'm just saying, sometimes you don't go back to the well.
Yeah, no. Keep the trumpets and Grimace away.
Sometimes you just don't go back to the well. I think the Mets will be okay, but they got 30-4. They got outscored by the Pirates over the weekend.
Yeah.
30-4.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll come back. We'll stretch. I will not do baseball. We'll place bets next.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina!
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
A little over 20 years ago when I came in to get clean and sober, and coming in I was super nervous, didn't know what to expect, and I came in and I was learning things that I had never took the time to learn. My growth and development stopped the moment that I started using drugs and alcohol. So I encourage anybody, you're unique and your recovery will be unique, but there is a program and a place that could help you.
Visit ncdhhs.gov/crisis services.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
We had to exit the home pretty quickly because of how quickly the water came in. It was just really vital to me whenever all the public service announcements were going out, that we needed to get our water tested.
We needed, get in the field and start helping people disinfect their water supplies.
It's really critical to their health to be able to have that safe drinking water.
They were reaching out to me to make sure that I knew that there were resources available.
NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day, everyone.
Healthcare? Why?
Waiting
Why is
is
it
the
so
worst.
hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross, North Carolina. Making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia, Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Wimbledon started today. Didn't the French Open just end?
Feels like it.
Yeah. But yes, they are. I actually read an article in Front Office Sports about the All England Lawn Tennis Club, which is what Wimbledon is, actually has purchased, I don't know, like 30 acres of land and are trying to basically double the size of the club. And the people who live there are unhappy about it.
Not fans.
No. Even though that within that purchase, a lot of it will be used for like park area, not additional. I mean, a lot of it will be used, some of it will be used for more courts. I think they're actually trying to get 71 grass courts. They have now, I think, 39. And there's going to be a lot of just like open space park, like leisure park, strolling, places for kids to play, stuff like that. But they're still not. They don't want the club to do it.
No.
I don't know. I got to know the issue, but I just read about it. And part of it is if you watch Wimbledon, when you get to the second round, the second week, and you see, my gosh, it's brown.
Yeah.
They actually, they're trying to deal with the wear and tear on the courts. So,
yeah, it's an issue.
I don't know. So, read about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's stretch.
Well, I know it is summer vacation season for a lot of people, so I saw this is the last thing I want to do for a summer vacation is be in the car and go on a road trip, but if you are someone that does want to do this...
I got air conditioning in my car.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, true. That's always a nice thing. There was a study that looked at 32 different factors in 3 categories, and they looked at cost, safety, and how many attractions or activities there are in different places to kind of like gauge which were the best road trip worthy spots. North Carolina was in the top 10 of best summer road trips. And I want to say they were probably like 9, I think it is, in this one, which, I mean, I can understand, even though the traffic really causes me problems. But this is why I do not want to be in a car. However, they did also have the worst states One kind of seems like a no-brainer
New York.
for a road trip. New York was actually in the top 10
Okay, good.
of best places.
Well, there's a lot of good things to do in the state of New York.
Right, and I think
I
that
mean, New York
probably
City's
helped.
awesome too, but
I haven't been. I need that.
wouldn't do a road trip.
Yeah. Well, they said Hawaii was a bad road trip. And I'm like, well, because, you kind of
Drown.
There is no road to drive there. But also, I found this interesting because it did look at other things, like the cheapest road trip. Idaho was,
Yeah.
was one of them.
Stay clear of Coeur d'Alene now.
Yeah, there you go. Also, the least safe places to go, New Mexico. And then I found this interesting. We're surrounded by the least safe ones because South Carolina and Tennessee are
Really?
are apparently in that
well.
category. So, yeah, I guess they just want you to come to North Carolina and not the other states. But, and the least stuff to do, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Delaware. So don't go there if you want things to do.
Rhode Island's lovely.
Yeah?
I mean, I wouldn't go to, like, Providence,
Yeah?
but Newport is gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, the places they say go to, Minnesota was the one that won out all of them. So Minnesota, New York.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Land
Ohio,
of 1,000 lakes.
Utah's
Utah's beautiful.
Yeah. So all of those
Florida?
places.
You nuts?
Traffic is also crazy. If you want to melt in Florida, go ahead. I can say
Crazy?
firsthand. So, yeah. Plan your trips accordingly, just like you should plan your bets accordingly.
Place your bets, place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, you think we can fit all these in?
Sure, let's try. So first up, I'm doing baseball today because there's nothing going on. So Kansas City Royals are in Seattle. Seattle is hot these days. Give me Seattle, and the over 7.5 is plus 215.
What do you mean nothing's going on? In the WNBA, Indiana's at Minnesota tonight. That means Caitlin Clark against Cheryl Reeve, their head coach. She was the Olympic coach. All right, how about a 5-leg Caitlin Clark parlay?
Nice.
25 or more points, 4 or more made threes, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Indiana wins. That's plus 1926. I have more. Maybe we'll get to it next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Canes fans, your team will be turned upside down.
I said upside down, you're turning me. You're giving love instinctively. Round and round, you're turning me.
Listen all week for our coverage of the Canes free agent frenzy. Instant reaction to all the Canes additions and moves, and the latest signings from across the NHL. It's the Canes free agent frenzy on 99.9 The Fan. Driven by John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get off your keister and get to Heister.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster, and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are 2 very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call Trajan today, 919-200-4000, 919-200-4000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Oh, it's perfect, all right.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one patient per year who might not have access to proper oral health care. Join me in making a difference.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I think the end result is going to be the same. Congratulations on your trip to Baltimore and your first-round loss in the playoffs, where Aaron Rodgers will probably underperform. The other thing I will say about him, when you're 40 and it's 80 degrees out, you might be able to still spin it. But what's going to happen to Aaron when he's 40 and they're trying to play to win a division and the temperature is about 12 degrees? I don't know. Your body doesn't react the same.
That's why Al Gore invented oatmeal. Or Wheatina. Is Wheatina still a thing?
I don't think so.
Nah, I don't think so.
No.
Let's hope not. It wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I was a cream of wheat kid.
Oh, okay.
That was big in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was all cereal, just like normal cereal.
Sugar
high cereal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My wife brought home. Hi, it's the Adam Gold Show. I'm him. That's Victoria. Aileen brought home chocolate Cheerios.
Oh yeah, Honey Nut Cheerios get me.
That's standard at this point. I mean, they're not really any better for you than chocolate Cheerios.
Yeah.
And regular Cheerios just don't.
No.
I mean,
because then I have to put my own sugar in it.
Right. If you want to eat cardboard, go right ahead.
Yeah. Wouldn't advise it. Just eat plain oatmeal with nothing in it,
Yeah,
too.
that's fine. Which the steel cut oatmeal I could do. I just throw some dried fruit in it. It's fine. But she brings home the chocolate Cheerios.
Yeah.
Jack has a bowl of it and goes, "Where did these come from?" He's like out of his mind.
Was his mind blown?
Completely. I'm like, wait a second. Ever hear of Cocoa Pebbles?
Yeah.
I was a Cocoa Pebbles kid.
Yeah.
I don't do fruity cereals.
No?
No.
See, I'm the opposite. I can't do a lot of fake chocolate stuff. Just doesn't get me. I like the fruit stuff. Yeah, but apparently he's a big fan of those.
He was like, "Are you joking?"
Where have these been my whole life?
Unbelievable. that he found out about chocolate Cheerios. Good for chocolate Cheerios. My wife wins again. I bought the Reese's Puffs.
Ooh. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I can get down with those.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can too.
Yeah.
All right. We should before we stretch, because I had other wagers I wanted to make.
Oh yes.
Did you? And I'm sure you had a couple of others
Sure,
also.
yeah.
So real quick, I have a baseball one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Chase Burns, who is the former Wake Forest kid who is now pitching for the Reds and is awesome. 8 or more strikeouts in Boston against the Red Sox today. It's plus 230.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
there is that. And the Club World Cup is going on. Yes.
I know you're excited.
I am. The tournament itself stinks. It's not good for the players. I mentioned this before. The European season, like right now, by the way, they're not shutting down, although I think they have, the Brazilian League in South America. I think they've stopped their matches while this concludes, which will be 2 weeks from now. But it interrupts the South American season, the Major League Soccer season, and there were 3 teams from MLS in the 32-team field. There are 4 teams from Brazil, 2 teams from Argentina. So of the 32 teams, 9 are from the this area, and the season here is basically winter through summer. The European season is end of summer through all the way through the spring. So it's the calendars don't really run up against each other. They're doing it in the off season of the European calendar. But the European seasons begin in the middle of August.
Oh.
So these teams are going to have no time. Like, players will not even show up until basically the start of the season, which happened last year during the European Championships and Copa America. It's exactly the same thing that happened, and it put a lot of teams behind. It caused a lot of injuries, and if FIFA wasn't on another money grab, this tournament would not be 32 teams strong. And these European teams, which are really the only reason why we have 32, they had to be bribed to do it. Now, if you did it the year after a World Cup, it would make a little bit more sense doing it in between the World Cup and the European Championships and Copa America, some of the big, every other year events. If you did it after a World Cup, it would make a little bit more sense, but 32 teams, nobody wanted it, except FIFA saw money because they weren't making enough money. Sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they have just thrown money at the big clubs. They're paying the big clubs more than the small clubs to come and do this. It just is what it is. But it's just a money grab. But that doesn't mean some of the matches aren't fun. I guess I almost went too long. We should do a wall of sound.
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, really only had one thing I wanted to hear from, I guess it was over the weekend. So the Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers, I don't even know what they're thinking about. I asked this question of Nada because LeBron James picked up like a $53 million player option, which is steep. And it's about, it's a lot of money, right? It becomes untradeable, really, with a $53 million price tag. But regardless, the Lakers showed themselves last year to be not close to being a legitimate NBA championship contender. Not close. Are they a playoff team? Yeah. Could they be in the play-in tournament? Yeah. Very easily. Could be part of that. They have LeBron James. They have Luka Doncic. They have Austin Reeves. They don't have a lot else beyond that. Shams Charania from ESPN on the off season.
The biggest need for the Lakers right now is center. Rob Pelinka, their president, has been vocal and upfront about it. We have to go find some size. So you think about names like Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Al Horford is also available on the open marketplace. So they're going to be really prioritizing the center position. So I would be very mindful the first day or two of free agency on Monday, Tuesday, which center do they find?
All right. Of those three players that he named, Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Al Horford. Al Horford is ancient. So is Brook Lopez. Clint Capella, if you got the version of Capella from a few years ago, that would be one thing. But the truth is that none of them move the needle to get the Lakers where they want to be. They are in a very difficult spot. What they probably should have done was ask LeBron, hey, do you want to get traded like now? And if you do, then maybe you don't pick up the $53 million player option. We work out something else and we find you a spot where you can play the next 2 years and pursue a title. Otherwise, we ain't going to be very good. Anyway, watch them go after DeAndre Ayton. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. One thing we haven't mentioned, and I'll just close on this, and then we'll hit the break, and Will Palaszczuk's going to join us on the other side. The Miami Dolphins and Pittsburgh Steelers made a trade today. So Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, the tight end. Jalen Ramsey, the cornerback. Jonnu Smith, the tight end. Traded to Pittsburgh for Minkah Fitzpatrick, and there's some draft capital that goes both ways. And, I don't even know, is that a great trade for anybody? I think it's a great trade for Miami because it was clear that Jalen Ramsey was not happy. It was not happy. But I'm not sure it was a great trade for Pittsburgh because I'm not sure Jalen Ramsey is what he used to be. And if he's not what he used to be, if he's not as good a version of himself, and this is his fourth team, right? Drafted by Jacksonville, got traded to the Rams, got traded to the Dolphins, or might have signed as a free agent with the Dolphins. I'm not sure. But this is team 4 for a player as good as this? Not sure. Not sure it's a good idea for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, well, with all that going on, Adam Schefter, just 20 minutes ago, made some post about how Watt's not really happy with all of the trade stuff.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's he's unhappy with his contract.
Yes.
Which, yeah, everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is. I don't blame JT Watt for not being, or TJ Watt, not JT.
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah, whatever. Either.
Yeah.
Either JT or TJ.
One of them.
I don't blame either of them for being upset with their contract. All right, when we come back, Will Palaszczuk, who may or may not already be at Bank of America Stadium, baking in the sun as Inter Milan and Fluminense get ready to play a round of 16 Club World Cup match. He joins us next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's Men's Health Month. WakeMed Primary Care wants to remind you to schedule your annual checkup. It's important to know your health numbers related to cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and BMI before it leads to chronic diseases. Focus on your health and preventing disease by building healthy habits and getting that yearly checkup and those screenings you've been putting off. To schedule your appointment, visit wakemed.org.
It's not Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's Tuesday. The very first Tuesday.
New scratch-off tickets are available on the first Tuesday of every month.
Announcer said first Tuesday.
Brand new scratch-offs, brand new fun. Now from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Every first Tuesday. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Join us at Cocoa Booth Amphitheater this 4th of July. Enjoy patriotic music, kids' activities, and fireworks, all with free general admission.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Want to attract top talent, build productive teams, and boost your bottom line? Join the Greater Raleigh Chamber at Perspectives 2025 on July 29th at the Raleigh Convention Center. Hear from leadership expert Al Vivian, who has guided Fortune 500 companies worldwide, and discover proven strategies to drive profitability through a full day of workshops, panels, and more. Connect with hundreds of professionals and continue to build your network. Perspectives 2025, strategies for workplace success. Register now at raleighchamber.org.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This is Adam Gold.
You know, soap attracts dirt, right? That's what soap does. It attracts dirt. Right now, Bill Belichick is soap. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's soap.
Yeah.
He's attracting all this dirt.
Or he's like an overripe banana and it's attracting all these gnats.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. It's always a place for cars.
Oh, yeah.
Always a place.
Always.
I remember them from, do you remember Live Aid?
Maybe.
We had concerts going on at the same time.
Yes.
In the United Kingdom, at Wembley, I believe, and in Philadelphia. Phil Collins played at both.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool. I think the cars were in Philly. It's very what What a great time for music.
I know.
What a great time for music.
Good times.
Yeah, absolutely. We let the good times roll.
Yes.
And we continue the good times with Will Palaszczuk at Willie P. Style on Twitter. He is the voice of Charlotte FC, among other credits to his name. And for those of us who are living and listening in Raleigh, we are now your local home for Charlotte FC on the radio. Maybe you guys will start winning again.
I hope so, Adam. It's unfortunate the little stretch that they've been in currently here over the last 11, but good to be on with you as always.
All right, part of it is no Patrick Agyemang, who's otherwise busy, and Tim Ream as well, otherwise busy with the U.S. men's national team. So I wanted to talk briefly about the idea that Agyemang could end up being the first-choice striker for the men's national team. I know for a lot of people, they've not seen him. You have. Give me a scouting report, what you like about Agyemang.
Well, I like his build, the most part of it, Adam. The biggest part about what he brings to the table is he's got size that, number one, you can't teach, and size that you can rarely see at the striker position. It's rare that you see somebody who can stand up right next to the biggest center backs in the world, and that's what you see when you play in a World Cup. He also has great skill on the ball. He's great running in behind. That's something that we see a lot with Charlotte FC. We haven't seen it as much with the U.S. men's national team because they play more of a plotting possession type style, very similar to what Mauricio Pochettino did in his stop at PSG, Tottenham, as well as Chelsea. So there's a more deliberate style. It doesn't necessarily always fit Patrick Agyemang's style of game, but he's still able to contribute at a high level in these games, including basically having the hockey assist on the goal last night that got the U.S. the lead at the moment that was scored by Max Arston, who, as you may or may not know from watching the game last night, had an adventure of a match for the United States.
Yeah, well, look, I got into some hot water with people when I listed the players I liked for the U.S., and I didn't mention him. I also didn't mention Malik Tillman, who I understand can certainly score, and the United States could use people who could score. I think he's a good squad player for the men's national team, but I have my doubts as to whether or not he can play at that level and really impact the game, because I thought there was more sloppiness than anything, even though he did. I think he scored a goal, and I think he had an assist on the other one. So he obviously does make things happen, but he also makes things happen in the other way.
He does, but, the one thing that gets to me is he missed that crucial penalty to begin the game. And that was the thing that, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but they don't use Patrick Agyemang as a penalty taker, somebody who, as a result of the MLS Next Pro involvement in the penalty kick rule, as you know or may not know, MLS Next Pro, the second division of MLS, they go straight to penalty kicks for every match that ends in a draw.
Right.
They don't have draws in that league. So a lot of the players have experience in penalty kick taking, and also if you look at Matt Freese in penalty kick saving, and that's something that he's definitely credited in doing that. The thing about Agyemang, the big things about his game that need development and need work are his hold-up play and also his ability in the air. Those are the things that if you look at what he needs to work on, and those are the things that may end up getting a work on if he ends up getting sold to an English club or potentially to Genk. Those are the things that he'll try to firm up. But Malik Tillman's somebody who, like you said, I think he's a good squad player. I think he's good for a tournament like this. We need a central attacking midfielder, and maybe they even have the guy they want in Diego Luna, who's had a whale of a tournament, but they need somebody who's got creativity, the ability to serve a ball, and also somebody who can have some ingenuity on his own right, because you're not going to get that out of Agyemang if, in fact, he is the first-choice man. And quite frankly, the way that he's been deputized by Mauricio Pochettino, how would you argue against the way that he's been going about doing it? I understand you're probably wanting to maybe see what you can get out of Flo Balogun, but, the guys like Sargent, Wright, these other guys who are trying to vie for spots, I think Agyemang's passed them by.
I agree with that. Flo Balogun hasn't really done much since becoming the first-choice striker for the men's national team. I think you can make an argument for Ricardo Pepi, who is scoring in Europe, but he doesn't start for the team that he's scoring for. So at some point, if you're a striker, it's got to be somebody who's been on the field who at least plays the first 70 or so minutes of a match. I don't understand.
This is a big risk. This is the big risk that Patrick Agyeman takes in going to Europe. And Michael DeCourcy, who I'm sure you know, wrote a very, very big article about this before the weekend because he, of course, moonlights in the soccer scene as well for the Sporting News. And he said that, while there could be a lot gained professionally from Patrick Agyeman, you maybe wonder what he can gain internationally because the one thing he is going to need wherever he ends up, if he does end up somewhere else in Charlotte FC, is the guarantee to get minutes. And anytime you change clubs, unless, I know this, the transfer fee reportedly would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $7 to $8 million. That's still not a guarantee that you necessarily get a first choice nod over somebody else who one of these clubs potentially has rated higher than that. So from that standpoint, that's the big risk of an Agyeman move eastward.
All right, Will Palaszczuk is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Play-by-play, Charlotte FC. They'll be fine. I trust Dean Smith, as I know you do as well. We did seem to, I think, find a goalkeeper of the present. I don't know about of the future, but certainly of the present. I love Matt Turner. He was a great, he's serviceable goalkeeper for the United States. He was a good keeper for a time, but man, it looks like that sell-by date is past. And what Freese did last night, I just think electrified everybody. It gives everybody a ton of confidence. Other than giving the ball away, which match was it where he gave the ball away for a goal?
Right.
I think, that was just dreadful. I think he's been pretty good. And we don't judge everything on this tournament. It's not an amazing tournament, the Gold Cup. I'll be interested to see if the U.S. plays Mexico in the final, which they probably should, how that looks. But I do think Matt Freese can give him something.
I do think he can, and I think, he's got a swagger about him, which I don't think you see from Matt Turner. So much about goalkeeping is confidence. I even look back again to Charlotte FC. So much of Christian Kalina's game last year that led him to a goalkeeper of the year type season was confidence and also having a back four in front of him that really kept things away from him, kept a lot of the dangerous chances away from him. Right now, unfortunately, that's not the case for Matt Freese. The defense for the United States has been calamitous through this tournament, and yet they've been able to overcome it with, obviously the great work he had in penalties and other couple of saves he's had to make in open play. But I think that's part of the reason why you look at him and say he's got the leg up on Turner, and partially also the reason, too, that, every time I feel like it, there's Turner ends up getting sold. So, because the fact of the matter is, it's just like, I feel like he changes teams more often than people change, milk in their fridge. That's the way. That's the way I feel like with him.
It is from Arsenal to Nottingham Forest. He lost his job to two keepers who are not even there anymore. Then Crystal Palace, now Lyon, and Lyon is trying to fight relegation for financial reasons. He was purchased by Lyon, and they might be playing in the second tier of French football. Will Palaszczuk is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I know you also you have Hornets on your resume. So let me ask you, what are your thoughts on what they accomplished at the draft and then the subsequent trade of Colin Sexton?
It's interesting, Adam. I really had I had a bearish outlook, honestly, on the way that the Hornets were going to do business before the draft because of not just where they didn't get necessarily the lottery luck, but also on the prospects of what they could do. Lo and behold, Jeff Peterson went and cooked over the course of the 2 days of the draft and even over the weekend with the acquisition of Colin Sexton. Look, are any of the guys individually that they got in the draft transformational? No, but I think in totality, it represents a bit of a paradigm shift for the way the Hornets culture and DNA are talked about and thought about because they do bring toughness. One thing that Jeff Peterson said to us on Friday was that they wanted to bring in winners, and every one of them at the various levels that they played at, whether it's the high school level, the AAU level, or also what's going on in their respective colleges, definitely has the ability to be that winner for the Hornets. I do still think that there may be one transformational player short. they're definitely short of center, and they're definitely having a glut of guards they have to go through right now in terms of their roster. But they're on the right track, and I think honestly they're going to put forth an intriguing roster, and a roster I do feel like that can compete for a play-in spot to at least represent some type of ascent forward in the minds and hearts of NBA people. A lot of NBA people who analyze the draft and talk about things very happy with the way the Hornets did their business this week.
I agree. I mean, Con Knipple, Liam McNeely. I mean, you got this maybe the second best player off of Montverde. That's not bad. You didn't get Cooper Flagg, but you got his number 2 twice. There's got to be something good about that. Before
and McNeely's a cool dude too. Like we just talked to him. He's going to be a talker. Be looking out for him. He's got a personality to him.
All right, final thing. I know you're headed to Inter Milan Fluminense today, round of 16 Club World Cup at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Are you going in an official capacity or as a fan?
I'm going as a fan. I'm actually a +1 to my good friend Antonio Ramos, who is our Spanish language analyst on the Charlotte FC radio network. He's a big, huge Inter Milan fan. I'm only half Italian, so that's part of my reason why I'm supporting him morally with an Italy shirt on, not necessarily an Inter Milan shirt.
I totally understand. What do you think, though? I mean, the South American clubs have done pretty well at this event.
They have. I find it intriguing that this is kind of one of those video game type matchups that you don't ever see. It's been like 60 years since these two teams have played in a competitive friendly, and it was like back in the San Siro in the 50s or something like that. So it is something where you look at it and say these teams don't see each other quite a lot. I can tell you right now the numbers favor Fluminense from a crowd standpoint. Yep. But I think there's just way too much talent on the Inter Milan side, especially when you think about this team is still not far removed from a Champions League final. I know they didn't fare well in it, but I do think that
they did not.
I do feel like there's more talent on that side than there is Fluminense. But stylistically, they both have to do a lot of the same things. Very defensive-minded. I do feel like Inter Milan's got a little bit more quality going forward. But if Fluminense can stay in this game and hang around, maybe they can, nick a goal late or force extra time, because I expect a lower scoring contest between these two.
I think my prediction would be for extra time. I hope it isn't too hot at Bank of America. What is the temperature right now there?
It's 90, and so it's not nearly as hot as it was last week, but it's not mild. Put it that way.
It's enough to get Enzo Maresca upset that they're playing the Club World Cup in the United States. Will Palaszczuk, Charlotte FC play-by-play man at Willie P. Style on Twitter.
Who's supporting in today's game?
Thank you very much, sir. I'll talk to you later. Bye. It's only 90 in Charlotte today. Only 90.
Oh, that's all. That's all.
I mean, what did they expect?
Mm-hmm.
They're having the Club World Cup in the United States. I mean, they play Copa. Although the Copa America, Copa America. Those matches have been played at night largely.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe don't kick off your matches at noon and 3.
Right.
Maybe kick them off at 7.
Feels like a better idea.
And 10.
Unless you're me and mosquitoes will be feasting, but
yeah,
at least you won't be melting.
But we have off.
Yeah, that I have to drown myself in.
I mean, you do what you got to do. Anyway, we'll come back with a rewind next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
When life feels overwhelming, knowing where to turn can make all the difference.
That's why crisis services are here for anyone at any time, no judgment.
If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health, substance use, or feeling lost,
Crisis services are here for you 24/7.
Compassionate, low, or no-cost services.
Whatever your crisis, you always have options. Find the support that's right for you.
Visit ncdhhs.gov/crisis services.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
As a school nurse, I feel like we're really that contact for the schools between the Department of Public Health and what goes on in the school system.
The face of the Department of Public Health in our school is our nurse, Nurse Emma. All the communication that she was receiving and direction she was receiving, she made sure to communicate with us and be a wonderful partner with us.
These kids need their routines.
NC Public Health. Everywhere. Every day. Everyone.
Healthcare? Why?
Waiting
Why is
is
it
the
so
worst.
hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes. He
And I
hurt
went,
you.
oh, that's why. That's what.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's here. We are less than 24 hours from free agency going bonkers. I believe the whole thing hits at noon tomorrow is when they basically open the faucet.
Yeah.
And let the trades happen.
Right
or
when
let
the show
let the deals
starts.
happen. Yeah, which is going to be interesting because we're going to try to do a normal show, sort of, but just kind of keep everybody up to date on what's going on. I can say coming up on Wednesday, I mean, as we sit here today, I have no reason to think this won't happen. Mike Krzyzewski will join us on Wednesday. Also, it's a normal Chip Patterson day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Chip's enough.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about just the state of the state of play in obviously college basketball, but it's across sports now with the House settlement finalized and everything that is happening, and if Coach K is happy to no longer be coaching,
right,
as a result of that. I think they were pretty adaptable initially. So I certainly know John Shire has been. So we'll also, I'm curious, how do you feel as somebody who had control and now has no control?
Big adjustment.
That's got to be hard to sit there and watch. But we'll talk to him about it tomorrow. We'll be on, not tomorrow, on Wednesday.
I wonder if he coaches from his couch.
Yeah. I mean, look, but that's
Maybe.
serious.
You might not be able to turn it off.
Like, he doesn't go to a lot of games. And this is not good or bad because you can make arguments both ways. Going to games is I don't know, bad is not the right word, but he has intentionally stayed away. But he was at the Final Four last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember a team as good as this one for Duke, other than maybe 1999 for Duke.
Yeah.
Or maybe 1997 or 98 for Carolina, that didn't get to the national championship game with the level of talent that they had. Now, it's all relative, but I know that there was a ton of, for whatever reason, I know why, because out of the NBA draft on Thursday, all 5 Duke starters were drafted.
Mm-hmm.
All 5 of them. Cooper Flagg went 1. Con Knipple went 4. Kamon Malawach went 10. Sion James went early in the second round, and Tyrese Proctor went in the middle of the second round. And there are people that cannot believe that you could have that many players drafted and didn't at least make it to Monday night. My response to that is sports happens. It's just life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't win. No matter how good you are. That's why sports as a television property is unmatched by anything, because we don't know what's going to happen. Upsets happen a lot. And honestly, was it that big of an upset for Houston to beat Duke? Going in, no. As the game played out, yeah, there were some things that Duke did to contribute to the loss. But, my gosh, we forget why we watch. Because we don't know the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's not any more complicated than that.
Yep.
Which, this is sort of an offshoot of this conversation. Part of the reason why we should always treat Pete Rose differently than Barry Bonds, just in terms of what their overall place in the game in baseball, is that only one of them drew into question the legitimacy of the competition. Only Rose did that. Bonds didn't do that. Bonds certainly made you worry, well, not worry, but think about what the stats mean. I'm fair to have, to me, those are two entirely separate conversations. But Rose, obviously this is all after the fact because we didn't know it at the time. But after the fact, Rose makes you go, did he really try to win that game? I know he didn't have money on it, maybe, that we don't know about, but he was certainly telling people when he didn't bet on the Reds that, don't think we're going to have our best today.
Yeah.
Anyway, those two things are completely different. One is way worse than the other, even though more people look disfavorably on Bond's legacy than they do Rose. And that is twisted, in my opinion. All right, let's rewind. And there might have been another thought in there that I was supposed to tie up that I forgot. So, This is all from Kevin Weeks today. Kevin Weeks, ESPN, ABC, NHL Network, insider, entrepreneur. He's got the Inside Edge. By the way, if you follow Kevin Weeks on Twitter, at Kevin Weeks, the Inside Edge is his new hockey platform on YouTube. They're doing a pay-per-view tonight. It's $5. You could win a massive prize, honestly. But their pay-per-view tonight is their pre-agency show. I think it's very funny. 8 o'clock tonight, but you can get all the information on Kevin's Twitter feed. And it starts, our conversation was about, the Canes and what they should do in free agency. And again, tomorrow, when we start, the floodgates open. And even though there are not a ton of players who are that attractive on the open market, and I've said before, I don't think Carolina will really be heavily involved in this at all. But I think there is a player that they should go hard after. And based on contracts that have been given out today, Aaron Ekblad is going to get paid tomorrow. And if I were the Hurricanes, I would pay him what it takes. And I asked Kevin Weeks about it.
Yeah, every team has their own model for sure. Canes have their own model under Tom Dundon and Eric Tulsky in the group. Let me just say my man Rod Brindamore is one of the best in the business.
Yep.
He's helped transform the franchise as well and restore it to the heights that it was at during our 02 team, and more importantly, during their cup-winning team. So it's nice to see. Yeah, you're right. They don't typically pay the premium. And in saying that, it's not to say that they haven't taken some swings. I heard you mentioning Orlov before, but it was on shorter term. They made a major swing this year in acquiring Mikko Rantanen.
Yep.
We just did the Canes game on ESPN in Dallas the day before, and I remember talking to Tom and Eric in the hallway. I'm like, what do you guys have cooking? I hear you guys have something cooking. And, of course, there's sheepish grins, and they were looking the other way. The next day, bingo, bango, they trade for Rantanen. I'm like, what? Guys, I was just talking to you. Like, I'm a former Caniac. What are we doing? So anyway, which was a huge move, of course. And then, of course, the Gensel acquisition last year. But I would say this. They have taken swings. It's not for a lack of taking swings. It's just to your point, they haven't taken as many in free agency. But a name that you just mentioned, Aaron Ekblad, I was actually just talking to my agent about him yesterday. My agent doesn't represent him yet, Sergei Bobrovsky there.
Okay.
Paul Theophanis, who's got a really good relationship with Tom Dundon. But I was talking to him last night, and I said, Ekblad is a different player. Like, I've known him since he was 15. And these last 3 years, he's just taken his game to a different height. He was always smooth and, just efficient and could chip in offensively, pretty good defensively. But the last 3 years, he's got a newfound aggression and physicality in his game that I'd never seen before. And it's impressive. So if I'm him, I would certainly love to re-sign in Florida for a whole host of reasons, just based on what they've accomplished and what they've done. If I'm them, of course, I would like to keep him because we drafted him and had him here since he was 18. But ultimately, as of July 1st, once that clock hits 12:01 a.m. Eastern, anything could happen. I'm curious to see what does.
Yeah,
but I think he could be a nice fit for the Canes, though.
And we'll talk more about that. Here's the thing. I was looking through Florida's salary cap situation. Sam Bennett signed. We still have not heard about Brad Marchand. Chris Johnston, who is an insider for The Athletic, I think he used to be with TSN. He was on our friend Pete Blackburn from the What Chaos show. He was on with them and floated the notion that Marchand, if he goes to the free agent market, could be offered around $10 million a year. $10 million a season. Two things. One, not surprised. Two, Carolina, get on that. But I don't think he's going to end up at that number. I think he's going to stay in Florida for probably something closer to 7, but just a guess. But Florida's got to find, they're going to have to find a few seriously minimum salaried players and maybe shed another body. Maybe shed an Evan Rodriguez to create a little bit more wiggle room so they can get through a season. Because if they want to keep Marchand and they don't want him to take, and where Marchand doesn't have to take a huge reduction in what he could get on the open market, then that number is going to push Florida pretty close to their cap. But to me, the only players that Carolina should absolutely overpay for are the two guys from Florida. That's it. Marchand means a ton to your team, aside from points, and the points will be there. And Ekblad checks so many boxes for Carolina. But I've said this before. I said it on the podcast Saturday night. Carolina has to get an upgraded center, and they must get a top right shot defenseman. And if you're not going to sign Ekblad, you're probably not seriously upgrading center in free agency. I'm not sure Mikael Granlund, who I like, is an upgrade. He's an upgrade, but is he that much of an upgrade in free agency? Maybe, yes. I don't know. But this will all be done, I think this will all be done through trades, and that's fine. Trade, you certainly get a lot more cost certainty through trades than you do overpaying in the free agent market. Just about anybody you sign via trade, although with Rasmus Anderson of Calgary, you're going to have to sign him long term. That's fine. But I'd be interested in seeing those types of things happen, except that it's going to take a while. I don't believe those things will happen tonight or tomorrow. Again, I don't think Carolina is going to be heavily involved in free agency. I think it's going to be we're going to wait it out type of a thing. Whether or not that's good or bad, we will be able to determine at the end of this summer improve our team cycle. It's going to take a while. Now, we mentioned Ekblad. Now to get into Ekblad with Kevin Weeks, because I said this many times already. He checks a lot of the boxes that the Canes need to fill.
I agree. Listen, as mentioned, I've been saying it for the last, really since Roddy's come aboard and the new ownership. I've been saying the Canes are a Stanley Cup contender, and I say it every year. And I said it most recently at the start of this season that just concluded. The Canes are a Cup contender, make no mistake about it, but you need a little extra X factor. And whatever that looks like, whether it's a game breaker that can bust the game open and score a big-time goal in the postseason when you need them, whether it's a defenseman that can lay a big hit at the right time or chip in offensively, any of those different things, you just need some X factor juice in that group. And already what's a good team. And, if you look at Aaron Ekblad, for example, listen, he's played in 3 straight Stanley Cups now. 3. He's won 2. So he has the recipe. So that certainly would help, and the intangibles. So those things would certainly help the group there in Carolina. And we know they've got a great blue line, and they have a really good team. But I've always said this, and I tell all my people within the Canes organizations and, some of my friends that live all across NC, I just tell them the same thing. Just a little extra X factor to where Roddy could put that player over the boards. It could deliver a big moment, a big moment at a critical time. I feel like that's one of the things that's missing from their group, and hopefully they can add it.
All right, one more thing with Kevin Weeks, and this is about Mikael Granlund, who finished the season with Dallas, had a hat trick, remember, in the playoffs. should Carolina be interested in him?
Why not? He's proven that he could play in the postseason. He's proven he could play in the regular season. He plays multiple positions. Hard-working, finished player. I'm sure he knows and has a relationship with Fishy, who they call down there,
yeah.
Mr. Aho, among others. And, I've always liked his versatility. I like his skill set. He's unafraid to make plays in the hard areas. And, every team, I shouldn't say every, the good teams have an identity. They have a defined identity in what their characteristics are. The Canes have those. I think he's somebody that they can plug into their system. And you don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be a huge out-of-pocket spend, but I think there could be some value there as a good top six, maybe middle six player for the Canes that's a professional. I know the way our boy Roddy B operates and respect the hell out of him. And I don't think that Granlund will have any problems with that. He'd fit into that seamlessly, into that group. And I think he could be a nice piece for them, potentially. I really do. But here's the one thing, too, for the listeners.
Sure.
Is, as I broke the Noah Dotson trade the other day, the morning of the draft from L.A., and then, what's the other one I broke on the plane? There's another one that I just broke on the plane as well. I got to go to my Twitter. But the reason why I say that, the reason why I actually referenced that is, even though the draft was going on, there's still trades that are being made. And it was a John Gibson one. Gibson to Detroit. But even though the draft was going on, there's still some trades to be made, not as many as we thought. But I certainly believe with free agency opening, there's going to be a lot of activity. And also keep in mind, I've spoken to two agents about this last night. With the upcoming CBA, the max term contract, if you re-sign with your original team, will drop from 8 to 7 years. And if you sign with a new team, it'll drop from 7 to 6. So that could also spur activity. You could also see instances where teams may even re-sign their own unrestricted free agent and trade them because the player wants that extra year now. They want to maximize on the 8-year now.
Right.
So there's a lot that's in play. There's certainly been a lot that I've been privy to, and I'm just curious to see how much of this shakes out.
Granlund's a good player. We'll see what happens. It all starts tomorrow. Before we get out of here, the Hurricanes have made qualifying offers to restricted free agents Skylar Brindamore, Noel Gunler, Dominic Fensor, Ryan Suzuki, and Ronan Seeley. Ty Smith, Yanni Peretz, and Anthony Honka have not been extended offers. They are now unrestricted free agents. All right, the madness begins tomorrow. I hope it's madness. I hope it's fun.
And happy birthday to my dad today.
Happy birthday. Why didn't you say that earlier?
Well, my mom has to tell him.
I don't know. Thanks, Victoria. I'll find out about that later.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Adam Gold Show.
Look, I know Carolina's got a lot of money to spend, about $29 million in cap room, but I want them to spend it on the